This is a student's first draft of a formal description of Natural Symbolized, number 2, by Arthur Dove. And the student writes, the Arthur Dove piece titled Natural Symbolized, number 2, from 1911, represents the reproducing elements of nature. The 458 by 550 millimeter horizontal painting showcases the aspects of the, quote, essence of life, end quote. It brings attention to the movement and life cycle of objects to the human eyes. He used a landscape full curved forms of varying shapes and different shades of green to symbolize leaves. Overall, these shapes look as though they are being pulled in all different places on the canvas, giving them a sense of energy, growth, and movements as seen in nature, like a sensation of greenery being pushed by the wind. Okay, there's not a lot of actual description in there. There's mentioning of symbols and what things mean, but not much that evokes a real picture. What picture do you have in your mind right now? Let's see how close it matches the actual image. Okay. Now the goal of a formal description is just to describe the forms, the shapes, the things that make up the work of art. Describe those forms that you see. Do not describe any meaning or story. Only describe what can be seen as simply as possible. So the shapes. There are shapes that are curving inward, pointing inward. It's like bent triangles curving in a clockwise direction. You start the description by saying, I see. A yellow curved nautilus form in the background of the right side. On top of that is another curvilinear form, another nautilus shape, almost a shell shape like the inside of a shell. And it is green and dark green and black mixed with obvious brush strokes across its surface. On the left side, curved and bent triangle-like forms are created, 1, 2, 3, on the left lower quadrant, or left side, lower part of that left side. They are pointed at the top and get wider at the base as you continue along the curve that goes in a clockwise direction. They too are made with green and dark green and black with very obvious vertical and horizontal crossing brush strokes. There are other colors and shapes to describe, okay? See these repeated triangles? Okay, triangles or bent triangles is a repeated motif in this work. So you need to describe them, where they are, how they are moving, what color they seem to be, and that is the start of a formal description. let's see. Okay. Go back to the student's description. The Arthur Dove piece represents the reproducing elements of nature. Okay, a formal description is not telling me what they represent. You're telling me what you see, how the thing is made, what shapes they're made with, the size of those shapes, the location on the surface, be it canvas or anything else, texture, color, light, dark, which is tone. And once you have that, then you could make a guess at what they represent. The horizontal painting showcases the aspects of the, quote, essence of life, end quote. Okay, here's the thing with quotation marks. If you're putting quotation marks in as a direct quote, you need to have a footnote, a very clear notation of the source of that quote. If you are using quotation marks to distance yourself from a phrase, like putting in quotes like, I'm going to say this, but I don't really mean it, that someone else said it, I'm not sure, then it doesn't have a place, well, really in normal writing, but especially not in academic writing. If there are quotes, this has to be directly attributed to someone else. Because this is your writing, you don't want to distance yourself from your own writing unless you're quoting someone else, then you have to give them full credit. Continuing on, it brings attention to the movement and life cycle of objects to the human eyes. Okay, we're not there yet. This is just a formal description. Okay, that is an assessment and analysis of the forms. This is a form. This is a form. The idea is to describe those. Okay, these are forms. So describe what shape that is, where it's located in the painting, how big it is compared to the entire painting and compared to other forms, what color it is, or what colors, what tone it is, or what tones, like darkness to light. Okay, dark tone, light tone, medium tone. This is lighter. That's a form. That's an easy one. That's a triangle form. It's a square form. Triangle form. That's blue. And the very small in the top part of the painting. Actually, here you go. Here is a yellow form, roughly made. Just look down there in the lower right corner where I'm drawing. See how I described the location? Lower right corner. And that yellow triangle. So there is a yellow triangle in the lower right corner. And it is not a bright yellow. It is a pale yellow and maybe black. There might be some green mixed in. And it's also not smooth. It has texture created by crossing brush strokes. So the edge is not perfectly clean. It's sort of a messy edge because of the brush strokes. Okay, I think that gets the point across. You get the idea of how to do a formal description. Be very strict about only describing forms. If you start making conclusions about what those forms are doing, if any kind of narrative or story or any kind of meaning starts coming out, stop. Save that for the later step, the later assignments. That's important then, but it's not important now. Just description is important now.